Imagine being 16 years old and traveling the world for free. Not in economy class, not even business, but in the cockpit, dressed as a pilot. Now imagine also pretending to be a doctor, a lawyer, and eventually working for the FBI. Sounds like a Hollywood movie, right? Well, it is. But before Leonardo DiCaprio ever stepped into that pilot's uniform, there was a real man behind the story, Frank Abagnale Jr. And this is his unbelievable real-life adventure. Frank was born in 1948 in Bronxville, New York. A pretty ordinary kid, really, until his parents got divorced. That moment shattered his world. At just 16, Frank ran away from home with $200 in his bank account, a suitcase in one hand, and mischief in the other. What he didn't have in money, he made up for in charm, confidence, and a dangerous amount of creativity. His first big idea? Uniform, hotter, power. He discovered that if you dress like you belong, most people will never question you. So, he forged a Pan Am ID badge, bought a second-hand pilot uniform, and started introducing himself as First Officer Frank Williams. He didn't actually fly the planes, thank God, but he sure flew on them. Through a loophole called deadheading, Frank hitched free rides in the jump seat of commercial flights, claiming he was a pilot repositioning for his next flight. He traveled to over 25 countries. For free. Sometimes he'd even stay in luxury hotels on the airline's dime. The man was literally living the high life, at 17. But Frank wasn't just good at pretending to be a pilot. He was a master of reinvention. His next role? Doctor. Yep. White coat, stethoscope, hospital ID, and all. He faked a Harvard medical degree and became a supervising physician in a Georgia hospital. Luckily for everyone involved, he wasn't doing surgery, just assigning night shifts and nodding wisely. Still, one wrong question from a nurse and he was gone. So, of course, his next move was obvious. Become a lawyer. Frank forged a Harvard law diploma, passed the bar exam in Louisiana, yes, for real, and got hired as an assistant attorney general, all by the age of 19. Pilot, doctor, lawyer. What was next? Astronaut? Actually, he went back to what he was best at, money. Frank began forging checks, lots of them. He created fake bank accounts, printed his own checks, and even convinced flight attendants to cash them for him mid-flight. He once printed checks on airline napkins, and they worked. He would pose as a security inspector, call the bank, and ask for their check design templates for inspection purposes. The banks would fax them right over. Genius, bold, and totally illegal. By the time the FBI got wind of what he was doing, Frank had already stolen millions and committed fraud in 26 different countries. FBI agent Joseph Shea, played by Tom Hanks in the film, became obsessed with catching him. It became a literal game of cat and mouse across continents. But Frank always stayed one step ahead, until Paris, 1969. There, he was finally caught and arrested. He was just 21 years old. He was extradited to the US and sentenced to 12 years in prison for bank fraud. But here's where the story takes another wild turn. After serving just 5 years, the FBI made Frank an offer. Help us catch other check fraudsters, and we'll let you out early. And just like that, the world's most brilliant forger became the FBI's top consultant on document security, check forgery, and fraud prevention. He eventually founded his own security firm, Abagnale Associates, and has worked with some of the biggest banks and corporations in the world, teaching them how to avoid falling for tricks just like his. He's spent over 40 years helping law enforcement, all because he was once the best at breaking it. So what can we learn from the real Frank Abagnale Jr.? That confidence can open any door. That appearance is everything, until it's not. And that intelligence without ethics is a ticking time bomb. Frank's life is proof that anyone can change, no matter where they start. But maybe, don't lie your way into brain surgery first. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe for more unbelievable real-life tales, and drop a comment below. Would you have fallen for Frank's tricks? Thanks for watching, and hey, catch me if you can.